Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you from the Neighborhood Loan Studio here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're still talking about this week's family reunion and another story from the boat. Let's hop into the conversation. In yesterday's conversation, I talked about how my brother and his wife came in from Phoenix. My sister came up from Florida. We had a little bit of a family reunion a couple of weeks ago, and we had a day on the boat, and these old stories and old dynamics came up for me, which were really a blessing, and nothing was tense or terse or any of that. It was a heck of a lot of fun, and I got a chance to really reconnect and be with my brother, who I've not seen in 7+ years. So, we got to spend a day on the boat. Today we've got another conversation from the boat because one of my favorite things is that we took our dog on the boat. I think I mentioned that in yesterday's pod. I can't remember. But our dog, she is a little atypical, I would say. She is not a very... Our dog Pepper is so sweet, and we've learned a lot about her. She's warming up to our family more and more. And so... we're sitting here going, okay, we're going to drive up to Springfield from the St. Louis area. We're going to go that, 90 minutes or whatever up to Springfield. We're going to spend the day on the lake. We're not going to kennel her for a single day. We're not going to board her for a single day. We reached out to multiple friends and neighbors. Couldn't find anybody to watch her, to take her out for a walk. And we're like, what are we going to do with this dog? Oh my goodness. So we were like, what the heck? Let's try putting the dog on the boat. See how she does. She's a tiny little thing. She's a corgi poodle mix, a corgi poo. She's super sweet, super adorable. But she is, when I say atypical, she is super shy. She doesn't do well with new environments. She likes to hide and go in a little den. She'll sit at my wife's feet under the desk or right under the side of the bed. Or sometimes she goes back into the back corner of our walk-in closet in the darkness and hangs under hanging clothes because she likes to be very sheltered, and she's very skittish around other people. Heck, she's still skittish around me and my son Arrow. So we said, let's see what we can do with the dog. We have no idea what to expect with the dog. We're going to take her on the boat. My parents are not pet people. They were on the boat. Sorry, Mom and Dad. My brother and his wife, Denny and Shelly, they've had a couple of dogs, and they are very much pet people, pet parents. So when we said, hey, we're going to bring Pepper with us, they were like, oh, sounds great. It's going to be awesome, And so we get her to the boat. We did bring her in her crate because we're like, if this doesn't work, we're going to have to, one of us will have to go take her somewhere and just kind of spend half the day on the shore while the family's boating, swap, switch, etc. It worked out perfectly. It was great. She did so well on the boat. She would get up on somebody's lap and she would just let that wind hit. And she's got these little like corgi ears that they're flopped. Like the poodle side of them is flopped, but the corgi side is straight up. And those things would stick straight up in the wind, and you could just see almost a smile on her face. And she went under my brother's legs for a little bit, and then she like hopped up on his lap and fell asleep on his lap. And with all that wind going on, with all the chaos of towing the boys, towing my kids in the back on the raft, I forget what we're calling it right now. It's a little sea raft that you pull in tow, and then also there's a rider board that you can ride as well, and she just did fantastic. We were able to pull over a couple of times and walk her into a park area. We'd dock and we'd walk her into a park area, let her pee or whatever. Completely surprised me though. I, in a way, expected the worst. I, in a way, was like, oh boy, we could be in for it. This could be a really long day with a very miserable dog. She adapted in such a way that was so perfect and actually exceeded my expectations. And I just thought to myself, when was the last time that you and I prepared for the worst and were pleasantly surprised? When was the last time in your life that you were like, oh, I got to go be with those people. I got to have those relationships, or, oh, this environment's going to be new for me. And then when you actually got into it, you were pleasantly surprised. Can we reserve the right to have our expectations dashed or shifted or challenged? See, my expectations were this could be a long day. and they were challenged, and I embraced it, and I loved it, and it shifted, and it was awesome. However, I didn't know how to quite do with that. I was like, what do we do now? Okay, I guess we're having fun. All right, we're doing that. And I wasn't at first, I was pleasantly surprised because I don't think I was willing to have my expectations challenged. And I think that's what you and I should consider more in our life. When we go into an environment where we expect the worst, what if we actually started to challenge that expectation? Where we're getting ready to meet up with an old friend and we expect, or an old family member, and we expect that there's going to be conflict. What if we actually started challenging that expectation? If we, I don't know, did that politically? That'd be interesting. Oh, I fully expect this person on the other side of the aisle to say the thing that's going to piss me off. What if we challenge that expectation and go, actually, what if they're hoping for a bright future for our country in the same way I'm hoping for a bright future in our country? If we hope for the same thing, if we hope for a bright future, the details can get worked out only if we're willing to challenge our expectation. So the question comes for you, where in your life do you need to challenge some of your old set expectations? Because those old set expectations come from old beliefs and old behaviors because of old triggers and past programming. Well, if you and I are on a trajectory to find this future version of us, it's going to maybe have to include challenging expectations. That's it, my friends. That's all I got for you. Go out there, challenge your expectations, and have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to dallasdailyshow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.